You're watching First News at 5. Your news and weather headlines start right now.
Good afternoon, I'm Molly Martinez. The State Law Library is battling a devastating loss after a broken valve damaged dozens of priceless books. One of the oldest books in the flood is an opinion from the U.S. Supreme Court from the late 1800s. The director of the facility management at the state capitol says contractors were replacing fan coils when the valve broke.
We're going to get all of that back, but realistically, I don't know. So it will be a loss.
Half of the damaged books were taken to the state library to be dried. The books with the most damage were taken by Arrow to be frozen to help preserve them. Speaking of water damage, we might be out of the woods for the time being on Missouri River flooding. The Army Corps daily reports show releases from the Garrison Dam are under 60,000 cubic feet per second. The river levels at Bismarck have dropped to 13.02 feet. The Corps' 3-week forecast shows releases will drop to 50,000 CFS on August 2nd. Kevin, will rain affect that at all?
It could, depending on if we have a large amount of rain. Just be have in mind that thunder is possible throughout the night later on.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
You bet.
A Mandan man is now wanted on 2 warrants. Police say 37-year-old Jeremy Bloom is wanted for terrorizing and aggravated assault, for cutting and threatening a man with a knife yesterday, and for escaping from a rehabilitation center in May. The Trump administration just announced a $12 billion aid program to farmers who have been affected by the president's growing tariffs and trade war. The aid will go to soybean, cotton, dairy, corn, hog, and other farmers, and will be kicked off around Labor Day. But the idea is landing with a thud among some lawmakers, including Republicans and traditional free traders who wish Mr. Trump would end his tariffs policy. Both sides say the trade retaliations are hurting American agriculture and businesses in an otherwise growing economy. Well, May was a busy month for the Bakken as activity ramped up to record levels in oil and natural gas production. But capturing that gas remains a problem. Maddie Gelseth shows us the hurdles.
Molly, the North Dakota Oil and Gas Division set a gas capture requirement percentage to bring flaring of natural gas down. Right now, that goal is to capture 85%, and it'll go up to 88% at the end of this year. Production in the Bakken is expected to continue to rise, and gas capturing requirements are also expected to go up. There are 5 new processing plants that'll come online this year and next year.
There's a lot of conversations between the Oil and Gas Division staff and operators that are in the field to take a look at different technologies that exist or techniques that they might use.
Those technologies to capture that natural gas and bring down flaring include
system enhancements are being made, additional compression on those pipeline systems, looping or adding a second pipeline alongside the original are some of the solutions.
Kringstad says to address natural gas flaring and gas capturing, the gathering, processing, and transmission systems all have to line up. He says the most immediate challenge is at the local level, where the pipeline connection can hold enough gas that's being produced. He also says the long-term issue for capturing natural gas is making additional investments in larger transmission systems.
All right, thanks, Maddie. In health news, for every 100 people diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, only 8 make it to the 5-year survival mark. Graduate students at North Dakota State University are working to bring up that number. Pancreatic cancer kills about 80% of people diagnosed with it, and that's according to the U.S. Cancer Research. NDSU's goal is to make chemotherapy drugs, to add some molecules, and turn them into tumor busters. More on that now is Andrew Horn.
Well, Molly, Matthew Confeld, one of the researchers on the project, says the process from start to workable drug will take about 10 years.
With the formulations and the drug development that we're trying to do, we hope that that can change, and that when you go to the clinic and you get diagnosed with a certain type of cancer, that it's not a death sentence, that there is hope and that we can cure you.
The NDSU lab gave us a look into the research and why early tests have them optimistic. On the evening report, we'll go under the microscope on pancreatic cancer.
Thanks, Andrew. People working in family services, counseling, foster care, and education are learning mindfulness practices all week at a conference at the Ramkota Inn. School social worker Kathy Flaminio says teaching these professionals how they can overcome trauma. Flaminio used props to illustrate how to clear your mind and control your thoughts, like how the sparkles of a glitter ball mimic thoughts in our brain.
What happens when we just stop and slow down? So you can see the sparkles are settling, right? So mindfulness isn't about getting rid of all of that. It's learning how to notice it and not get all involved in it.
Flumina says her big message at the conference is that you can't choose the circumstances you're put in, but you can choose how to respond to them. Williston Public School District 1 faces some real challenges in the years ahead, and school leaders want to tackle them before the first bell rings. Jamisha Lyde has the story.
Williston residents have a lot to say about their schools.
We had over 300 comments, and we had comments ranked over 20,000 times. So we had a very good gauge from the community.
He's talking about the online tool called Thought Exchange. It's a system that asks residents who sign on to answer open-ended questions on the direction of the district is heading for the 2019 school year and potential problems that need fixing.
We had the Thought Exchange open for 10 days, and parents and community members were able to go on the Thought Exchange and not only comment, but rank the comments.
One problem that became apparent right away was what to do with all the students coming in next year. The superintendent says the majority of the buildings are already full. 6
of our 8 buildings are maxed out. And one thing that we need to do, and the feedback we're getting from our community, is we want to see something that's sustainable, a sustainable plan that addresses all of our buildings. That's a transparent plan.
A $77.2 million bond would have paid to build 2 new elementary schools and expand the high school, but it was rejected by voters in March. Fake says the next step is unclear, but creating the Thought Exchange is a step in the right direction as residents weigh in on potential solutions. He says it will be an important tool heading into the future.
We're going to use it for educational programming. We're going to use it for district climate, district culture, and we're going to use it as frequently and as often as we can.
Developing a plan for a lifelong success. For NBC North Dakota News, I'm Jamisha Lyde.
Well, the polka dot crosswalks in downtown Bismarck that some said are ugly are now being crossed out. The curbing extension program was painted over with red, which the city hopes will be less of an eyesore. There's also paper and pen tied to a lamppost where you can voice your opinion on the Bismarck Moves Street activation project, though no one has commented yet. Today, the North Dakota State Fair is honoring thousands of important members in the Minot community. Megan Von Baron joins us live from the fairgrounds with more. Megan?
Thanks, Molly. Today was Military Appreciation Day. Members of the military were treated to a great lunch and an enjoyable day on the fairgrounds. MSG Richard Goodman says he was excited to spend his first state fair here in Minot with fellow military members and his family.
You know, our airmen are a tight-knit family in their squadron and in their workplace. An event like this where they get to meet other veterans, other people that aren't in their squadron, other services, the Guard, reserves, that's really important to see the entire military family.
Today was all about honoring service men and women from right here in Minot and around the country. That's all we have from the fairgrounds in the Magic City. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
A group of families that show their animals at the fair every year got a little nostalgic today. Carla Breedall's daughter, Cashton, and her friends Clayton and Drew have attended the fair every year since they were babies. Their parents took photos of them at their first fair 10 years ago, and they're 10 years old now. So, of course, moms decided to embarrass them by having them retake that old photo a decade later.
I just think it's just so much fun. We haven't done pictures in between, but I just think to look at them 10 years ago and to look at them now again this year is just such a huge difference, and to know the impact that these kids are doing in the livestock community is just amazing.
The families are showing sheep and livestock throughout the fair. 53 years spent in the Magic City, the State Fair has gone through its fair share of changes. Many vendors adapt as well. Thompson's Root Beer has been doing it for 30 years. The stand is known for their small batch, low carbonated root beer, but through the years, they've added to their menu with floats, funnel cakes, and now cotton candy.
Like any business, it takes time. Build your customer base and serve a good product at a good price and be able to adapt, make changes, try new things. Funnel cakes were just funnel cakes, and now there's strawberries and cream and caramel turtle and all kinds of different toppings put on them.
Thompson stands are run out of Fort Worth, Texas, and Jim and his father, Jim Sr. What do you say, Kevin? Let's go get some funnel cakes.
What? Did you produce the show? Did you put that in there? I mean, come on, Molly. Thanks a lot. How unfair. If you're in Minot, you got to check that out. I would be one of their happy customers.
Parts of the U.S. are waterlogged right now after heavy rains sweep through the Northeast. This is the scene in Fairfax, Virginia, where roads have turned into rivers. Fairfax County Fire and Rescue reporting multiple calls for help for cars stuck in rising water. And emergency officials are once again reminding drivers to avoid high water, turn around, don't drown. A similar scene a few states north. Several counties in Pennsylvania are experiencing flooding from over 7 inches of rain. The nearly continuous rainfall has left destruction all across the area, including fallen trees and closed roads. And in D.C., you're looking at the Watergate Hotel, which is living up to its name. A flash flood is in effect as waters rise on the Potomac, and the rain doesn't show any signs of stopping. Some areas could see more than 2 inches of rainfall before nightfall. And in South Carolina, some waterworks caught on camera. Vacationers in Myrtle Beach were in for a surprise today as a waterspout formed a few hundred yards from the shore. In the video, you can see some people scrambling to leave the beach while others remain in place, apparently not afraid of the potential tornado, which did end up actually becoming a tornado, as you can see here. Kevin, people don't realize how fast these things move.
They are quick movers, waterspouts coming ashore like that, but you know, that's something you got to think quick on because it happened really fast, right? And it's like our weather right now. We don't.
Today, Greece is assessing the damage after a devastating fire claims the lives of 60 people. Photos show the aftermath near Athens. Survivors gathered near the water while inhaling the thick smoke. Greek officials say 60 are dead and more than 100 are injured in those wildfires. The Israeli military is saying it shot down a Syrian jet that entered Israeli-controlled airspace. The Syrian jet flew into Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on the Syrian border. This is the first such incident on the border in more than 7 years. In Europe, people are suffering from a record-high temperature heat wave that shows no signs of stopping. Paris was smothered by a blanket of pollution today. Europe's heat wave is expected to continue throughout the week. Well, get ready.
Yeah.
You're about to see an adorable family reunion. This is in Scotland. Over 300 golden retrievers filled a field in the Highlands for an event marking the 150th anniversary of the breed. Fun fact, the breed was started by a guy named Lord Tweedmouth.
Wow. Huh.
I'm assuming only because he wanted help retrieving gold, right?
Maybe so. Tweedmouth. Never heard of a golden retriever named that, but maybe now.
Tweedmouth. That sounds like a guy in the Highlands who started a dog breed.
That's right. No doubt my daughter's favorite kind of dog, too. So, no, we don't have one, but.
Okay. Come on, be a cool dad. Get one.
Oh, be quiet. Would you? We'd like to pick up and go and things like that. But I know, take the dog with us, right?
But it would retrieve you so much gold.
Then I would for sure. All right, 78 degrees in Minot right now, 88 in Bismarck. It's cooling down across the north, couple of showers, but no severe weather expected right now.
All right, time now to find out what's coming up on the evening report.
Well, Molly will take a closer look at the Trump administration's plan to provide aid to farmers as they endure losses with the trade war, and we'll have reaction. We'll show you what a TSA agent found in a security check at the Bismarck airport this morning, and watching some of the youngest competitors of all at the state fair. Those stories, plus sports and the forecast, coming up on the evening report.
Thanks, Alan, and thanks for joining us. If you just tuned in or missed any part of our show, you can use your streaming device to go to yournewsleader.com and watch any newscast any time of the day. Be sure to join us again for the evening report. But until then, here's Lester Holt.